When the cameras first caught Cam Jurgens back on the practice field, you could almost feel the entire fan base take a deep breath for the first time in weeks. After spending days locked inside concussion protocol, seeing him moving well, going through individual drills, helmet on, locked in, it instantly changed the mood around the team. And to be honest, it needed to. This Eagles offense has been fighting an uphill battle all season, and a huge part of that struggle comes from the revolving door along the offensive line. Since opening day, those 5 original starters have barely spent time on the field together. When your unit up front keeps changing, nothing flows the same. The run game loses rhythm. The pass game gets choppy, protections break down, and the entire operation becomes a step slower than it should be. Now, even with Jurgens trending in the right direction, that right side still carries a massive question mark. Lane Johnson being out changes everything. He is the tone setter, the stabilizer, the veteran presence who cleans up so many issues before they ever become problems. Without him, the offense loses that sense of calm it usually has on that edge. And the tough part is that his situation needs honest evaluation. A foot injury like that can be tricky, the kind that sometimes lingers longer than anyone wants to admit. The team has to get the full picture before deciding how long they might be without him, and nobody wants to rush a choice that could impact the rest of the season. While all of that is happening in Philadelphia, the Cowboys have been busy reshaping their identity on the defensive side. Bringing in one of the most dominant interior linemen in the league has completely shifted the vibe around their front. Even though his debut came against an interior line that has been struggling badly, dominance is dominance. He created pressure instantly, one with power, one with technique, and basically reminded everyone why he has been an all-pro force not too long ago. The cameras catching the celebration up in the box only added fuel to the story. And with him joining a rotation that already had serious talent, suddenly the Cowboys' inside trio looks like a matchup no offensive line wants to see at the moment. That is exactly why the spotlight for this game lands right in the middle of the trenches. The Eagles' interior must come ready, locked in, and sharper than they have been at any point this season. Because if they don't, this matchup can turn ugly fast. This new Cowboys front is strong, disruptive, and physical in a way that can derail a game plan before it even develops. And it is not just about stopping pass rush. It is about creating lanes for the run, controlling the tempo, and giving the quarterback the time he needs to take shots without feeling bodies collapsing the pocket. The Cowboys' injury list adds another layer of unpredictability. Seeing Dak Prescott appear on it with a hip issue surprised everyone, especially since he's been playing some of his best football in recent memory. Still, the expectation is that he suits up, and the Eagles know exactly what he represents when he is on the field. He has a long history of putting up big numbers against Philadelphia, and even though he's thrown his share of interceptions in these matchups, he usually finds ways to keep Dallas in games. At home, especially, his production has been borderline automatic. High completion percentages, plenty of touchdowns, steady yardage, and that calm he always seems to have in division games. And this is where the stakes rise. The Eagles cannot allow him to get comfortable. They cannot let him turn this into one of those afternoons where he settles into a rhythm and starts spreading the ball around. Containing him has always been about pressure, about forcing the ball out earlier than he wants, about making him move laterally and throw under duress. If they let him stand tall behind that line, he will pick apart any defense because he has done it over and over in this division. What makes all of this even wilder is that Dallas always seems to have some kind of off-field chaos floating around them. Whether it is players missing curfew, stories leaking out at the worst possible time, or just that strange energy that follows the franchise, it never seems quiet. And heading into a week like this one, the noise gets louder. The rivalry adds emotion, the stakes stack up, and both sides feel that tension build as kickoff approaches. Meanwhile, back in Philadelphia, the storyline shifted toward the reports suggesting that people inside the organization were frustrated with the quarterback. And look, when you lead a franchise with massive expectations, play in a huge market, and start the year with an offense that feels stuck in second gear, criticism is automatic. But one thing about him has always been consistent. He understands the responsibility. He knows the noise comes with the job. And more importantly, He has the kind of leadership presence that holds a locker room together even when the outside world tries to pull it apart. The offense has not been as explosive as everyone expected, and the numbers back that up. A team that returned almost its entire starting lineup has been living in the middle of the league statistically, unable to find that top-tier rhythm that defined them in seasons past. Some of that comes from the coordinator change, some from injuries, some from inconsistency up front. But the reality is that the talent is there. The potential is still sitting right beneath the surface, waiting for the moment everything finally clicks. And even though the philosophy under Nick Sirianni leans toward conservative football, it has also led to a whole lot of wins. Protect the ball, play disciplined, avoid unnecessary risks, and make sure you do not hand your opponent free possessions. That formula has produced season after season of success. Winning records, deep playoff runs, and a culture built around accountability. When the Eagles win the turnover battle, they're almost untouchable. The numbers are staggering, the winning percentage is outrageous, and the trend goes back multiple seasons. It is not flashy football, but it is winning football, and ultimately that is what matters. As for individual performance, the quarterback's production this season does not fit the narrative of someone struggling. In category after category, he ranks among the best in the league. Efficiency, deep passing, accuracy under pressure, execution versus man coverage, command against zone looks, rating, completion numbers, all of it stacks up. And the touchdown-to-turnover ratio is the kind that teams dream of having from their franchise leader. And with everything swirling around the team this week, one thing remains clear. The offense does not need to reinvent itself. It just needs to elevate. It needs to sharpen the timing, settle the protection, and rediscover that explosiveness that made this group so dangerous last season. The pieces are there, the experience is there, and the responsibility now is turning all that potential into results on the field. The path to finding that spark begins with something this team has talked about for weeks, but has yet to fully commit to, getting back to an identity that dictates games instead of reacting to them. When the Eagles operate with purpose, when they decide the tempo instead of waiting for the flow to settle, the entire structure looks different. Drives feel smoother, decisions come quicker, and the quarterback becomes the version of himself that forces defenses into hesitation. But when the offense gets passive, when the line fails to create angles in the run game or loses its footing in protection, everything becomes harder than it should be. That is why the conversation around this matchup is so intense. Dallas has built a defensive front that thrives off disruption, and if Philadelphia cannot match that physicality, the game can flip early. At the center of all this is the constant reminder that complementary football has been missing far too often. The defense has carried stretches of this season, but even they have faced moments where the absence of consistent offensive rhythm put them in impossible situations. Long fields turn into short fields for opponents when the offense sputters, and energy begins to fade when the defense is back on the field repeatedly without rest. The Eagles know they cannot continue to rely on the defense to clean up every mistake. They need the offense to hold up its share of the weight, especially in divisional games where momentum swings hit harder than usual. This becomes even more important considering the emotional weight that always comes with playing in Dallas. The atmosphere there is different, not because of the stadium itself, but because of everything wrapped around the rivalry. The noise, the history, the pride on both sides, all of it creates a stage where little mistakes feel twice as big and great plays feel like daggers. Every season, this matchup shapes narratives, and players feel that pressure days before they ever board the plane. For the Eagles, stepping into that environment with an offense still trying to settle in a form means that execution must become the number one priority. There is no margin for wasted downs, no space for sloppy penalties, no room for hesitation. One of the biggest talking points this week has been the need for the offense to become more unpredictable. Teams have begun to sit on tendencies, triggering on certain formations or pre-snap looks that used to work in the team's favor. The solution is not reinventing the playbook, but adding enough variation to make defenses think before reacting. And this is where timing between quarterback and skill players matters more than ever. They need to rediscover the rhythm that once allowed them to attack every blade of grass on the field. Whether it is through quicker routes, more movement, or design plays that create natural leverage, the offense must find ways to generate cleaner looks. Because once that timing comes back, everything else follows. The run game, in particular, has felt like a puzzle missing one crucial piece. The talent in the backfield is undeniable. The line, when healthy, should be dominant, yet the ground attack has struggled to stretch drives and force defenses into adjusting. Without that balance, opponents start pinning their ears back and attacking the quarterback, creating pressure that disrupts even the simplest reads. The path forward is not about overcomplicating things, but about regaining the discipline to win at the line of scrimmage. This team has been at its best when it plays downhill, when the offensive line fires off with confidence, and when the backs hit holes with conviction instead of hesitation. Reestablishing that style is crucial if they want to slow down the interior attack Dallas brings. And while the offense works through identity issues, the defense prepares for a quarterback who has always elevated his play in these matchups. Stopping him requires more than just pressure. It requires forcing him out of rhythm, disguising coverages, and taking away his initial reads. But that is easier said than done, especially with Dallas featuring multiple weapons who can stretch the field or create separation underneath. The Eagles' secondary will have to communicate better than they have in recent weeks, because miscommunication against this opponent can turn into a touchdown before anyone realizes what went wrong. The pass rush must complement the coverage by maintaining discipline, avoiding overpursuit, and keeping containment so that broken plays do not turn into highlight throws. The linebackers, who have faced their share of scrutiny this year, will have a huge role as well. They cannot afford slow diagnosis. They need to read, react, and close space efficiently, because Dallas thrives on creating mismatches with movement and quick throws. If the second level plays passive, the Cowboys will pick up easy yards all afternoon. But if they attack with confidence and play physical football, they can disrupt the rhythm Dallas depends on. The key is consistency, something this unit has struggled with but is capable of achieving when everyone stays locked in. Even special teams could play a subtle but important role. Games in this rivalry often come down to field position battles. A single long return, a pinned punt, or a missed tackle on coverage can swing momentum dramatically. The Eagles cannot allow those controllable moments to slip through their fingers. Every yard matters, especially in games where both teams understand how much the final result can shape the narrative for the rest of the season. There is also the mental side of preparation, which becomes even more important in weeks like this. The noise, the rumors, the criticism, the speculation about leadership or chemistry, all of it can become distractions if players let it. But this team has dealt with storms before. Veterans in the locker room know how to filter out everything that does not help them win on Sunday. They have the experience, the resilience, and the understanding that internal focus is what separates real contenders from teams that collapse under pressure. And that starts with the quarterback. His poise radiates through the roster, his calm becomes contagious, and his ability to stay level through every situation is one of the reasons this team has been able to win close games time and time again. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has left the football world buzzing, the Philadelphia Eagles have reportedly made a jaw-dropping announcement. Dallas Cowboys star quarterback Dak Prescott is allegedly heading to Philadelphia. While neither team has confirmed the details, whispers from inside the league suggest that the Eagles are preparing to make a seismic shift in their offensive strategy, and Prescott could be the key to that transformation. Sources close to the situation hint that negotiations have been quietly underway for weeks, with Eagles management aggressively pursuing the veteran quarterback. Insiders claim that Prescott, known for his poise under pressure and leadership on the field, has long been on the Eagles' radar as the missing piece to elevate their offense to a championship caliber. The rumor mill suggests that both the players' camp and the Eagles are optimistic, though no official contract has yet been disclosed. Fans on social media have erupted in speculation, with some praising the potential move as a game-changing acquisition and others questioning how it might affect team dynamics. The Cowboys' locker room, meanwhile, is reportedly in a state of disbelief, with sources describing the news as surreal and hard to process. Analysts are already debating how the Eagles' offensive schemes might adapt to Prescott's style, noting that his ability to read defenses and execute under pressure could bring a new dimension to Philadelphia's playbook. While nothing is set in stone, league insiders are pointing to subtle signs that the deal could be imminent. Reportedly, key figures within the Eagles' front office have been spotted in high-level meetings with Prescott's representatives, fueling further speculation that this isn't just idle chatter. If true, the move would mark one of the most shocking and talked-about acquisitions in recent NFL history, shaking the foundations of NFC rivalries and potentially redefining the landscape of the league. For now, fans and pundits alike are left in suspense, refreshing their feeds and dissecting every hint of confirmation. One thing is clear: if Dak Prescott does indeed make the leap to Philadelphia, the football world may be in for one of the most sensational storylines of the season, with Eagles supporters dreaming big and Cowboys fans bracing for a seismic change in Dallas. The rumble of excitement and uncertainty continues to grow, leaving everyone wondering if this is the start of a new era or just another tantalizing rumor. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.